One properly built offer can make an educational creator $20,000 to $60,000 in only 16 days. And no, you do not need millions of views. You do not need more engagement or to build your brand a ton more. You don't need to grow your audience size anymore or build more products. We helped a piano creator generate $10,000 in 6 days. And we also helped another creator generate 28,000 in 4 days from the exact same audience that was previously making them only $47,000 in a single entire calendar year. The brand didn't change, their audience didn't change, we didn't change their actual subscriber count size. All that changed was what the series people inside their audience were actually invited to or even able to buy in the first place. So in this video, I want to break down what are the 7 decisions behind an offer that can actually produce a launch like that. And at the end, I want to open up and show you the exact internal AI system that we use to really make the process of building offers that can generate $20,000 to $60,000 in 16 days and how we do it in like 5 to 10 minutes or so. But obviously, first, you need to actually understand what we're going to be building, because you can create an offer fast with AI, but if it's the wrong offer, then it doesn't matter. You're just creating a wrong offer faster. So if you're new here, my name is Divine. I'm 24 and I build the business behind traditional YouTubers. The easiest way to kind of explain things is that most creators, they treat their channel simply like it is the business. What we do is we help flip that around so that the channel becomes a thing that actually feeds a real education business sitting behind it. So that's going to be building the offer, the launches, the funnels, the backend, the AI, the systems that turn all the trust and brand that creators have built into actual direct money, revenue, etc. And like I said, I've had creators do things like $10,000 in 60 days, 28,000 in 4 days, without new views, new subscribers, or brand deals or digital products. Same audience, same brand. The only thing that we changed was what was happening actually behind the channel. And I'm building all this toward a $100 million firm from currently my parents' house. Eventually, I will move out into my own place, and I'm documenting the entire journey. So if you want to watch me build everything, you can subscribe. But let's actually start with what an offer actually is. So we're going to go through and demonstrate the 7 components of actually what creates an offer that enables you to make tens of thousands of dollars in really only a couple of days or so. We first need to actually distinguish what an offer is and what an offer isn't. So let's actually speak about it. So an offer is pretty much going to be a specific result for a specific person through a specific means of delivering that specific result. That's going to be identifying, figuring out the biggest problem or pain that somebody has, and your offer is the bridge between them having their pain and them actually relieving their pain. So it's usually a problem and a desire. So I kind of like to look at offers as kind of as a one specific sort of path. An offer is going to be the complete reason for why somebody buys from you, and the clarity with who you're talking to, with the path that they're taking, and that they're also the result that they're getting is very, very important for you to be able to actually scale and grow predictably, consistently. So an offer is also going to be the support that one gets throughout them getting their results. It's also going to be the price. It's also going to be the terms and all the conditions that are surrounding that path. So I'm going to explain all that a little bit more in depth. One of the main problems that I see in creators is that they create all these products and courses and digital products and things that are really just maybe nice to have or kind of just information, rather than a simple structured path for a simple person, for a specific person, so that they can get a specific result. Buyers are paying for transformation. They're paying for actual change within their lives. They're not paying because you can tell them what to do through a course or a product. At the end of the day, information is everywhere. You've heard this many, many times. You have ChatGPT, you have Quality, you have all these AIs. You can find the answer to anything for any single problem in every single situation. Selling courses, selling products are not specific enough, are not transformational enough for them to sell consistently. It's why the stuff that you sell is pretty much up and down, inconsistent. Some months you're getting sales, some months you're not. The amount of sales you get is directly tied to the amount of content that you create, which is a whole nother hamster wheel in itself. You have to realize that the current product that you're selling, like a course, a program, a community, That is only a means of delivering the offer. The offer is the main thing that they're buying, though. The specific result that they're getting for that specific type of person. The path is just the vehicle. Stop trying to sell the vehicle, sell the actual result. That's what people care about. That's what people want to hear. And that's what ultimately people buy. And you can extrapolate this to any price point that you sell anything that you have on. And this is the thing, you don't want to just create stuff and create products without actually defining the offer. Because the truth of the matter is you don't actually know what works until you actually sell your offer. Because it's from selling your offer is where your audience and your customer will tell you what they actually are looking for that you can then proceed to build. How are you going to predict what they want before they've actually even spent a dime on the thing that you're trying to sell? How are you going to build something if you don't even know if it's going to sell in the first place? That's why we start off with the one specific person, the one specific result, and the one specific path, aka vehicle, aka bridge that gets that one specific person from their current situation to their desired and specific results. So let's actually give an example. Say, for example, you are a piano YouTuber. That is one of our partners at D-Ways Acquisition. Say, for example, he's selling something called, let's say, the Complete Piano Workshop. Let's say he's selling this as like a digital product, a workshop, and he's selling his audience to go and buy this thing. Does this sound good? You let me know if this sounds as good as something like this. Play your favorite song by ear. What are the two differences between these two things? The Complete Piano Workshop is slop. It doesn't tell you anything about what you're getting. It's just kind of a product. It doesn't really tell you a specific result. It doesn't really kind of identify who that specific person is versus play your favorite song by ear. First of all, that's a specific result. You're going to be able to play your favorite song by ear by whatever it is that you're selling. And it also starts to kind of wheedle down into the fact that only one specific type of person could really ever buy this. That's going to be anybody who's in obviously the piano world, but specifically they struggle to play their songs or just their songs in general by ear. Now we're starting to dial in to who's that specific person that we're targeting. This Complete Piano Workshop tells you nothing about what changes, what they're getting, what result they're getting, what problem that they're solving, versus this right here tells you the problem that they're solving, the solution that they're getting, and they ultimately are getting to their specific result, their end desired result that they want, which is to play their favorite song by ear. This is kind of the most simplest of examples, but you can kind of see the differences. So what do you need to do to ensure that you're creating an offer that actually sticks, that actually is good, and isn't just going to be something that sells inconsistently because you're missing certain things that actually allow things to sell consistently? You're going to need to choose the person, specify, and apologies for my horrible handwriting, specify the results, and then outline the specific support and path that this person would need to take before you build anything, before you create a program, before you create any modules or anything that's even related to a product. Identify the path and the support, and then we're going to get into it. And this is kind of like a sneak peek into future stuff, but you want to just release it and launch it to that specific person as fast as possible. Sell before you even create a single thing. So this was section 1. And section 1 is figuring out what an offer is versus isn't. So let's actually go into section 2, which is actually how do we identify our serious buyers within our audience? So we'll just title this serious buyers. So what actually is the serious buyer? So the serious buyer is going to be somebody in your audience who actually has a genuine, direct, painful problem. And not only do they have this painful problem, they're actually willing to solve it. So the serious buyer is probably going to be someone who probably has attempted to try and solve this major problem that they have. And it doesn't matter what niche it is. It could be in piano, baseball, fitness, doesn't matter. They've probably attempted to try and solve this problem, but maybe they were stuck. Maybe they needed help. But now these people are actually willing to invest into themselves and into obviously their favorite creator to solve this problem and get it just off their hands. These are going to be the people that want direct help and actually have urgency to want to solve these problems that they have. But why is it that we have to choose a specific serious buyer? It's because not everybody in your audience is going to be the same person. There's going to be people who are way less serious than others. There's going to be people who are maybe medium serious, but there's also going to be people who are the most serious. But on top of that, there's also going to be people who have way less painful problems than other people who have more painful problems within the same audience. So it's actually very important that you have to choose one, because you can't serve everybody. Serving everybody means you're serving nobody. And if you can focus on finding the person with the highest painful problem to solve, so that's two ideas right there. One has the most pain, but also the problem that you're solving is actually worth solving, aka worth solving to the point where you can get paid a lot of money to solve it. Identifying that person allows for a lot more clarity in your offer, a lot more clarity in your messaging and your content and who you're speaking to on a day-to-day basis. So you need to kind of look within your DMs and messages, because there's going to be a whole host of different types of messages that you get. You're going to get some messages, something like, "Oh man, this video was great. Nice video. Oh, I mean, that was some good knowledge. Thank you for the video," or "That was so helpful and insightful." These are not comments from serious buyers. These are from people who maybe are kind of just dabbling and maybe just kind of like the free information, and they just kind of watch it and maybe they implement your stuff, maybe they don't. Serious buyers are going to be people who are telling you about their life story, their failures, why they're struggling, how they're struggling, directly asking for help in your comments, your DMs. These are monetization and pain signals that you can kind of start to identify as people who, okay, they're showing me a lot of buyer signals, like, okay, they are clearly looking for help. And obviously the connotation and association between you helping them is that they invest into you for you to help them. So these repeated questions, all these messages and comments and emails of like failed attempts and why they're struggling, how they're struggling, what they've tried already, these are very, very important signals for figuring out, okay, clearly there's something here, and clearly these are people who are actually willing to invest into me. Like I said, though, it's not enough to just have painful signals and pain signals in your comments, DMs, and messages from people and think automatically, "Oh, yep, that's the problem to solve." Because remember, it's not just the fact that people are showing pain, but the problem that's being solved needs to actually be worth solving in the first place. So let's take an example of somebody who is creating content about real estate. So say, for example, there's two different types of people that you can target and create content and sell something to and solve their problems. One person is going to be beginners who have never touched real estate before, barely have cash flow, but want to start investing. That's one type of person. The other person is somebody who has already done real estate, has already tried to do real estate, and has the capital and investment capital to actually be able to do real estate full time. Which of these two people are going to be highest quality of type of person of painful problem to solve? Obviously, it's going to be the person who has tried real estate already, has the capital to invest into trying real estate and making real estate work full time. These are people who, one, have a painful problem, but two, also are valuable enough as a person, and the problem is valuable enough in itself to be worth solved in the first place. So your steps are to actually review your comments, review your DMs, review your messages, figure out what people are actually saying to you, find the problems that people are repeatedly asking you to help them with, and finally, choose the most painful problem to solve. But on top of that, choose the person who is actually able to get that problem solved. So not somebody who is just not going to be able to afford your services, and someone who actually is of quality, who can actually invest into themselves. The two work in somewhat of the same sort of lens. So that means section 2, serious buyers, is complete. I know I did not even write any notes for this section. I kind of just talked off the cuff. But section 3 is actually going to be defining the paid result. So let's actually define what it means to design a result that is actually worth being paid for and hopefully being paid a lot of money for. So what actually is the paid result? The paid result is the clear change that the buyer is ultimately paying to achieve. So that's usually going to be getting them from their current situation to their desired situation. And the paid result is ultimately going to be pretty much the opposite of the major problem that they're facing, the major problem that they have. And really, it's about kind of painting the picture and being just very clear and specific with what this desired result is. Because obviously, it has to be worth them paying for it. That's why we first identify what is the major problem. Because if we can't figure out a major problem to solve, a major problem to solve usually comes with a major desired result. The result has to be crystal clear. It needs to be exactly what they want, and it needs to be easily understood by them. It needs to be very, very simple, very, very specific. And the result is one of the most important aspects because the result actually controls how you position your offer, how much you're pricing it at, how you deliver it. The result controls everything. The result is one of the biggest levers. And people are just not going to value an unclear result. Like a vague outcome makes the offer seem weak, confusing. They don't understand what they get, why they should invest. And that's why a lot of creators I see, they're selling stuff, but what the audience and the person that you're trying to sell it for actually gets is ultimately just confusing. They don't even understand what they're getting. And if they don't understand what they're getting, they're just going to click off and go to the next person who does have something that's very clear and very specific. So let's go back to the example where we're specifically a piano YouTuber. A result such as learn the piano. Yeah, it's a result, but it's not clear how they're going to learn the piano. Like, what are the specifics? What are the actual methods and ways and like how like what do you mean learn the piano? Like, what does that even actually mean? You can learn the piano ranges across so many different facets, of course. But if we go back to the previous example of playing your favorite song by ear, now we're getting a little bit more specific. We're getting to a specific result. It's a specific desired result based off, let's say, for example, their biggest problem is that they can't not play their song by ear. The desired result, okay, let's help you play your favorite song by ear. Simple. It's a clear result, and the buyer can actually picture what they're going to get after they invest into your solutions. And how I would actually spice it up is actually adding the benefits of what happens when they get their desired result. So say the desired result is they want to play their favorite song by ear. We're going to say, hey, we're going to help you play your favorite song by ear so that you can get this benefit, that benefit, and this benefit, which connects to the fact that, okay, if they get these benefits, hold on. And these benefits basically show a direct implication of like how it affects their life after they get this result. So they play their favorite song by ear so that they can get these benefits that directly affect their life and make their life better. Now we're really getting to the meat and potatoes of like, wow, how to make your offer sound juicy, how to make your offer sound like, okay, I need this. I absolutely need this because it's the exact thing that I want and it's going to affect my life in this way, that way, et cetera, et cetera. In simple terms, defining a specific end result is just defining where the buyer is currently, defining where they want to be, and adding a specific time frame to how fast can they get to where they want to be without the obstacles that they've probably have tried before that have prevented them from getting to this desired specific end result in the past. If you can do that, plus add the benefits of why getting this specific result is going to benefit their life, you have a juicy specific end result that makes your buyer, the one specific person that we've chosen already, make it seem as if like, oh, wow, this is actually for me now. This is 100% for me. Because remember, now you see how it all kind of starts to compound. It's a building block. We first started off by defining the specific person. Define the specific person. We define the specific paid result. And now in section 4, we're actually going to build the method behind that specific result and that specific person. Like, what is it that we're going to do to actually get this specific person to this specific result? So obviously that's going to be section 4, path/method. So what actually is the method? In simple terms, the method is just the simple path that they need to take from point A to point Z to get them to their result. It's literally just the steps in order, pretty much what they need to do in each step in order to actually get that specific end result. But the method also still needs to have these components in where, why is it that your method is completely different than anybody else's that they have maybe tried or maybe they have seen? This is what we call officially the unique mechanism, but that's fancy terms. Simply enough, we need to define like, what makes your method different than others that they have tried. These are just the foundations and building blocks of creating a proper offer. And this is why it's important to build an offer from the ground up, because we need to figure out, okay, we're not able to figure out the method if we haven't figured out the specific end result, but we can't figure out the specific end result if we don't have the specific person that we're targeting in the first place. Buyers have always tried something or have seen something else that's similar to what you already currently do. They need to actually understand, like, what is it about your method and your offer that makes everything else that they have tried or seen different? You need to be able to define what makes your stuff different. And that's what adds uniqueness and clarity and sort of resonance to your offer of your offer to the specific person that we have identified that the offer is for in the first place. Your unique way of doing things separates you from anybody else that is maybe selling something similar, even if the result that they're getting is the same. You are basically one of one. Like nobody else can really copy that because your method is unique to you. But it is your job to figure out, okay, what is it about other offers and other things that they have tried that have caused them to fail? And really, your offer is just kind of mix matching, and your method is kind of just mix matching based off what you know has worked and what has not worked in the specific person, because you should know the specific person because they're in your audience. These are people who you talk to. You should be able to figure out, okay, what works, what didn't. So, for example, your unique method could have something in regards to maybe they need feedback that other offers weren't able to give them. You add that to your method, and that's already a way to differentiate yourself and make yourself seem unique. Maybe they know all the steps, but other things that they've tried has just been in the wrong order. Maybe they were supposed to do point B in point A, but they were doing point B in point B. Does that make sense? So really, your main job is really to just identify what it is that the buyer has tried and identify like why it actually failed. Like figure out like what is it about their past attempts and past things that they've seen? Why is it that these things have failed? Your job is to identify, okay, what can I add to mine that makes it completely different from these things that they have tried in the past that didn't work? And how can you explain it to them in a way that they feel and resonate that, okay, this guy is actually different based on the fact that you were able to figure out what hasn't worked, what were their bottlenecks in the past. Your unique method basically has all the things that work in helping your avatar or the person that you're helping get to their specific end result, and all the things that don't work, remove, basically. So now that you actually have the method and the new process that differentiates yourself, you need actually to design the support that actually allows the method to actually work and for the specific person that you're targeting to actually use the method. That's going to be designing delivery, section 5, delivery, and specifically designing delivery around obstacles. So we're going to put delivery and obstacles. So we have the person, we have the result, we have the path, and we have the method. So the delivery is going to be the actual tangible things to help the specific person go down that path and actually use and complete your method and your unique way of getting them to their specific end result. That's going to be calls, training, feedback, materials, resources, all things that help solve specific problems that arise as they're going down that path and going about your specific method to get them to that specific end result. And it's important that each thing, calls, training, resources, materials, each thing, please, this is very important. Don't just create stuff just to create stuff. It should solve problems. Each thing that you add for delivery should be something that solves a direct problem. And really, just getting somebody a result is just solving miniature problems over and over and over again until they get to that end specific desired result. Of course, you're solving the big overall problem. Like say, for example, you're helping someone master the piano by ear. That's the overall problem. But within that big major problem is going to be individual problems that arise as they're going about getting to the specific end result of mastering the piano by ear. Does that make sense? Oops. So the problem is more content does not usually mean better results for your customer, your specific person, your serious buyer. In fact, more content can usually just overwhelm them because of the fact that you may just be putting out content just to put out content because you think that's what getting good results equals, when in reality, no, just figure out what problems arise as they go through your specific method and create content with the intent of just trying to have that content be the solution to these individual problems that arise. And as you get better, because usually you're an expert, and as you serve more and more people, you'll be able to start to understand that your customers and buyers, your serious buyers, are going to really fail at pretty predictable points throughout the entire journey of them getting from their current situation to their desired situation. They're going to fail at pretty much the same points at all aspects. So it's your duty to figure out, okay, what are these points that everybody seems to be stalling at or faltering in? You create a solution around these miniature stalling points and fault points that your buyer and serious students are going and are going through as they go through your path. For example, if somebody is not consistent with the actual specific action items that they're supposed to be doing in order to get their results. The solution for that lack of consistency is accountability, support, being able for them to get one-to-one access to you or access to a coach or a mentor within the product or thing that you're selling. So your practical actual application of this is listing every single obstacle that you think could arise when you're trying to get this one specific person from their problem, the major problem that we've identified, to their one specific end result as they go about the path that you have identified and through the unique method that you are using to get them their results. You'll know usually because you should be an expert at what you do, and you are an expert at what you do. So you will know what kind of problems will arise from them getting to current situation to their desired situation. Your job is to list these problems and these obstacles that you know are going to arise, and simply enough, figure out what is the solution for these obstacles. So, I mean, we gave a whole bunch of examples, but say, somebody may fall off because they're not going to be consistent. Just provide a solution in terms of them being able to have accountability. Accountability could look like anything. That could be one-to-one support. That could be your WhatsApp number. That could be your text message or your Discord access to, Discord chat with a community or like a group or whatever the case may be. Or for example, if you know somebody's going to have trouble understanding some of the complex topics and certain problems that may arise from getting them from their current situation to their desired situation, what you can create is specific step-by-step fifth grade language resources that make the complex problem simple enough to understand and actually execute on. Now they're moving fast. Now they're actually going through your path and through your unique method fast and efficiently. So it's really just about figuring out what problems are going to arise and then figuring out what are the solutions that stop those problems from arising. And you want to do this prior to, so that you don't have to kind of think of things on the fly, like when people are already in your offer. Now, of course, there's going to be problems that you can't predict, but would you rather have 80% of the problems solved and you know how you're going to solve them, like before people buy or after people buy? So that's actually the delivery and figuring out, okay, based on what obstacles, how can I create a solution that can make that obstacle pretty much irrelevant? That's section 5. And I know I'm not really taking notes at all, but I like to take notes and also talk. Section 6 is going to be actually pricing your premium transformation. So let's actually get into that. So pricing is pretty much going to be the investment required for that transformation to actually be achieved. And really, the price should reflect the value of the outcome. You're not charging based on your hours or the amount of work you do. You're charging based on how painful is the problem that they have. That's why you want to choose a painful problem, because a painful problem usually means you can charge a lot more to get that painful problem solved, because it is extremely harrowing and painful in the specific person that you're targeting's life. The price that you actually are charging should also reflect the level of delivery that you're providing. So of course, if someone has one-to-one access to you, that should be worth thousands to tens of thousands, and even some people hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. One-to-one access to you? No. You can't just rent that out for $100 to $200 an hour. That's not how it works. And the major problem is that creators usually are pricing from fear or competitive prices. And the problem is these low pricing sort of numbers, dude, they require hundreds of customers for you to actually achieve the end result they want. Because it's not just money that you want. I know you want time and energy freedom. Like, you want to actually feel like you're not bogged down all the time by the work that you do. If you have low pricing, that's going to be the direct result, because you need more people to make the same amount of money that you would make if you just charge high pricing. And because you're charging low pricing, you're not going to be able to make a comfortable living off this low price charging unless you have hundreds of thousands to millions of followers and are constantly growing more as well. That's exhausting. Rather, if you just had something that you're selling at 3K to 4K price and you got 5 people to buy it every single month, you'd be at 15K to 20K a month. And dude, that's 5 people based on the fact that you're already solving a premium problem, a problem that's actually very, very painful for them to have. And the solution that you're providing is worth that amount of price. 5 people a month, especially with the size of audience that you have, is nothing. It's penny change. We made 28,000 in 4 days. We did it with only 10 people. So you can start to see kind of like how it kind of starts to work. And pretty much with low prices, it usually means the results that you get
are going to be worse because you're not going to feel like putting in all this effort and time in order to get somebody results and change their lives and actually get them to their transformation. You're not going to feel like it's worth it if they're not paying you enough. Ultimately, that's why it's actually better for both you and your audience for you to charge high prices rather than low prices, because low prices usually means lower quality results. High prices usually means higher tier results because they spent a lot of money and invested into you, as well as you also start to feel as if like, okay, because they spent all this money, my time actually feels worth it. Let me do what I can to get the best results possible for these people. And like I said, 7 buyers, for example, at $3,000 is $21,000 in a month. 7 people out of the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people in your audience. Come on, bro. 10 people at 5,000 is $50,000. 10,000 or 20 people at 5,000 is $100,000. 20 people out of the hundreds of thousands of people, the tens of thousands of people in your audience. You could make life-changing money while still having your time and energy and freedom by just making a few simple changes. And this is why pricing is very, very important, because pricing can determine how free you actually are and how much money you're actually making for the amount of effort that you're putting in. You don't want to charge based on effort. You want to charge based on the value of the outcome of the transformation that you're providing to the one specific person. At this point, I'm not even writing notes on my whiteboard. I'm just kind of speaking to the camera, and I mean, whatever. The truth is still there. So what I want you to do is consider the actual value of what you're providing. Consider, what is the price of an action? What is the price of them actually staying stuck and not taking time to invest into themselves to solve this painful problem? And if you can figure these things out, you'll be able to charge amounts that actually make the transformation that you're providing genuinely justified and valued, and worth even solving in the first place. Because at the end of the day, you still need to be able to feel as if what you're doing is worth it in the first place. That's why you need to charge high prices. I know you probably don't feel safe doing that. Most of the stuff you've charged has been probably maybe 1,000 max digital products, and you're selling a whole bunch of stuff that are lower priced. And maybe you do have something that is higher priced, but it's not selling consistently. That's obviously going to be the 5 previous steps before that. Make sure you've managed that first before you start charging pricing. Notice how pricing is section 6. It's not section 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We need to first dial in those foundations of 1 through 5 before we can figure out, okay, how do we actually start to price this thing now? So that's pricing. And now we're actually going to get into my favorite section, and that's going to be validating the offer. My handwriting is not good. Validating the offer. And this is going to be something completely different for most creators, if not 90 to 95% of creators, because every creator is actually doing the opposite of this. So please stay tuned. So what actually is validating the offer? Validating the offer is going to be testing the offer with real, actual potential buyers before you build a single thing. I'm telling you right now, if you follow sections 1 through 7, in the next 7 days, you could have 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in your bank account within the next 2 weeks. That's why I said this thing can allow you to make $20,000 to $60,000 in 16 days. You want to just launch your offer to this specific person that you've identified in your audience. Test the results, test the messaging, test the pricing, test the delivery. Just test before you build a single thing. You need to collect actual evidence before you build a single thing with your offer. You need to actually know what works, know what people want, know if people are going to buy, know what pricing works, know what message actually converts before you build anything. Because building anything good takes time. Building anything good needs data. You can't build something good if you don't actually know what the people in your audience actually want. And I see this all the time with creators. They waste months building from assumptions for what they think their audience wants, from these hunches, from what they've kind of maybe created in the past before. So they really, what most creators do is they actually create, and before they even do any of these first 7 steps in the first place. But say, for example, you have done the first 6 steps and you've been a good boy or a good girl. No weird stuff. I know that's probably weird. Okay, anyway, yeah. You've been a good boy or a good girl and you've done these first 6 steps. Now's not time to build. It's time to just go and bring your offer to this one specific person and sell it to them before you build a single thing, because you're not even going to know what works until you actually have real conversations. You hear what this specific person actually has to say about the thing that you're selling. Like, what are they confused about? What are they objecting about? What do they not like? What do they do like? What do they do like? What do they need? What do they not need? And really simple enough, it's easier to change sort of a rough, bare bones outline rather than a finished product, which, by the way, is not going to be good because you don't actually know what works. It's easier to change something that's in test mode and test phase rather than something that's been fully blood, sweat, tears, and energy put into it for months and weeks. Like, oh my goodness, like most creators, they build stuff for months, launch, and then they're surprised why the thing that they launched barely got the sales that they got, just didn't really fit the effort that, you know, was worth all the building. And also, furthermore, after the thing that after they launch a thing, it fails to even sell consistently because they didn't go through these first 6 steps of identifying the person, identifying the path, identifying the specific end result, identifying the delivery, and figuring out what obstacles need to be solved so that the solutions that you're providing are based only on these obstacles and pains. We're figuring out the pricing. And finally, you need to validate if people actually want your stuff in the first place. And all of these things can be done within a week. So you could have more money that you would have made in way less time if you had just done this rather than build for months and have the result of the launch you have where you barely make any sales. All you need to simply do is make a couple posts, say you have this thing, watch who like responds to it, watch who basically raises their hand and says, "Hey, I'm interested in it." In this thing. And if you built it right, the exact person that you were targeting in the first place is going to be the person that raises their hand. Listen to what like excites people, what people actually are saying that they want. Watch whether people actually take action and invest. People buying something is the biggest signal for them saying that this thing is what I want. People pay with their dollars. That's why building something before you sell is really silly because people may say they want something, but what they say may not be what actually aligns with what they do. What they do in the fact that they buy your stuff is the real signal of them saying, okay, yeah, this thing is actually valid. This thing is actually something that's good. And now you can double down on what you know is resonating, like your messaging, what people who bought are actually saying. Because it's the people that bought from you is the feedback that actually allows you to create something that's amazing because they actually bought from you. They're actually going through your process, your path, your unique method, your delivery. It is these things that actually contribute to you knowing what eventually works. So what is it that you can actually do in very, very practical terms in validating the offer so that you can get this really done in the next 7 to 10 days? All you need to do is you need to speak with serious people in your audience, speak with the people who you've identified as the serious potential buyers with the highest quality avatar, with the highest, obviously, quality problem to solve. You want to present that first version of the offer to them, literally just have conversation with them, present to them, make it so that it's easy for them to buy, create a simple path so that they can buy. And then simply use that feedback and data to figure out what works, what doesn't, double down on what works. And it is through their feedback and data is how you can actually figure out what to build. Because once people buy, that's them proving that your stuff is worthy of being sold and have a product built on it. And it's the same essence as any big company. Big companies do not build anything before they do not build a product before they sell anything. They make sure that their market is validated. It's called build before you sell. I mean, sell before you build. You need to sell before you build so that you can prove that the market actually wants what you want. In your case, the market is your audience. The truth of the matter is, if you're watching this, most likely you don't have a monetization problem. It might be the fact that you're just, first of all, selling a whole bunch of stuff that didn't go actually through this entire process. Because really, the truth of the matter is, your audience has enough demand and you have enough people in your audience, you have enough people who are willing to buy from you without even if you didn't get another single subscriber, follower, or whatever. Because most of the time, creators, they blame their audience, they blame their niche, they blame the people that are currently watching their stuff. And they assume because, they're selling stuff currently and their viewers aren't turning into buyers. They assume, it's the people in my audience. They won't buy anything from me. They're not going to pay. My niche sucks. My niche is broke. They don't want to buy anything from me. When really, it's not the people. I'll tell you right now, it's actually your fault. Don't blame your audience. Blame you. Blame yourself. Blame the fact that you don't know how to actually design a path that makes them want to buy from you and makes the most serious people in your audience want to buy from you. The real truth of the matter is, it's actually the business behind your channel. That's the real problem. It's what you've built behind the scenes that actually contribute to people buying from you. That is what is the problem. It's not your audience. It's just you haven't gone through these 7 steps and actually created something that makes buying from you, the most serious people in your audience buying from you, simple to do. And I'll give you a very simple example. One of our best partners that we've had thus far, Dusty and Aaron, they had about 200K subscribers, but we're only making up around 47K a year from a $79 a year membership. So, I mean, you can do the math on that. And they felt as if people weren't buying their stuff. I mean, listen, they had 200K subscribers and we're only making 47K a year, which means about only 200 members out of the 200,000 people in our audience were in that membership. And really, after we started working with each other, we realized like, okay, clearly it's not the people in his audience, in their audience. It's not like that his audience doesn't want to buy. It's just that the path to buy isn't simple and that the thing that for them to buy isn't clear. The person that they want to even have buy isn't clear at all. There isn't a specific path that is defined. Their unique method isn't defined. They haven't identified what problems that they're actually solving and what obstacles that they're solving. They haven't figured out what even is within the delivery that makes it worth it for the person to that does buy, for them to actually what actually allows them to get results, aka the delivery. And on top of that, their pricing was very, very cheap. Of course, they're only going to make 47K a year. They need hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to make millions with their brand. Simply enough, we really just went through this 7-step process. We made $28,000 in 4 days. Simply enough. That's it. We rebuilt their premium offer. We rebuilt their buying path, literally just following the 7-step formula. And like I said, we generated $28,000 in 4 days. Cecil was another creator that we helped who had 67,000 subscribers and pretty much had no buying path at all. Not one specific desire or defined person, one specific desired end result or specific defined end result, no defined method, no defined delivery, no pricing infrastructure at all. And of course, it didn't have anything to validate. We pretty much rebuilt all this stuff from scratch or built all this from scratch following the 7-step formula. And he made $10,000 in 6 days. Basically nothing. A piano YouTuber. This is somebody, by the way, who was completely scared to sell higher prices because he felt as if his audience was not going to buy. This is also the exact same person who was selling $3,000 piano packages. So you can kind of see that when things are correct, it doesn't really matter like what you feel or how you felt about your audience and channel and brand in the past. The formula doesn't lie. So I would say before you assume that your audience isn't going to invest into you, they don't have enough money, people don't buy, your viewers don't turn into buyers, you get good engagement, but you don't make enough money from the engagement or from your products you're currently selling, you need to audit based on the 7-step formula. Audit the specific person that you're actually targeting. Do they have a painful enough problem? Is the person that you're actually solving that painful enough problem quality enough to actually invest into your solutions? Do you have a specific desired end result that is very clear, very transformative, that is actually based on the specific person's major problem? Do you have a specific path that can take them from A through Z that's very clear with a actual method that actually solves all of the past mistakes and past problems that they may have tried in the past from other people or by themselves? Have you figured out the delivery method that actually solves each individual problem that may arise as they go down the path? And have you identified those problems and obstacles that actually will arise and design the solutions to make sure those obstacles don't occur as best as you can, of course, without actually building your product first? Have you identified the pricing that actually makes solving this problem worth it? Have you identified the pricing based on the value of the solution, the value of the outcome that they're getting, not based off what you think you should sell the thing at or what you think it's worth? Price it based on the value, what they actually get. And have you actually just released and tested your offer now that you've gone through these 6 steps or whatever, 4 or 5, 6 steps, whatever the case would be, and actually just gotten data from the market and sold and made money before you built a single thing, because it's actually your buyers who are going to be able to allow you to understand what actually works? Let me know. If you haven't done these things, then you can't say that your viewers aren't going to turn into buyers. Simple enough. And now here is the magic, because this entire 7-step process that we just kind of went through, I want to show you how we pretty much make this 7-step process complete in 5 to 10 minutes. So let's go to the next screen. Let me show you a little bit how we work at D-Ways Acquisition.
So this is the market research and offer creation GPT. As you can see, it instantly turns real audience data into plug and play high converting offers. And yeah, this turns creator information into pretty much a complete offer draft, organizes the audience, results, the method, delivery, and pricing, basically all of those different factors that we were able to identify earlier. It gives the creator pretty much a structured starting point. And really, creators just it takes a lot to, first of all, figure out all this stuff kind of manually. Like, it can be done in 1 to 2, 3 days. Really, if like, and honestly, no, not really, because it takes time to get the data from your audience. It then takes time to figure out the major problem that they are struggling with, the specific end result to solve for them, and the works. I mean, you understand the rest. And yeah, it can be done pretty fast, but really with AI, everything can just be done a lot quicker. So this is going to decide between, your buyers, results, and delivery, which can take days if you don't have a specific resource that actually enables or system that enables you to do this fast. And yeah, the AI speeds up the thinking and removes the blank page. What I want to do is actually demonstrate how to use the market research and offer creation GPT. We usually have a full process that we walk our creators through, and I'll actually kind of showcase what that process looks like. So this is the offer creation full walkthrough. We basically kind of show all of our partners step by step how to craft the offer from scratch with full prompts, pretty much end to end. They're going to gather their data. This is pretty much a full process of what we do on creating offers that actually contribute to 28K in 4 days, $10,000. This is the full process. But because we're obviously not going to use real data, I was able to kind of come up with a kind of example situation that can kind of be some sort of example, sort of premise of how we actually go about this. So this is my example. It's going to be a random YouTuber, finance YouTuber, 65K subs, already selling a few digital products, but wants to make more money more consistently. Believes he should be making more for the size of his audience and wants to unlock that. For a finance YouTuber with 65,000 subscribers, the biggest opportunity is usually moving up the value ladder, building recurring predictable revenue. Let me make sure I'm using the latest model. Let me make sure I'm using the latest model, and let me redo that. Loading. Let's build his offer from complete scratch based on all of the steps that you are trained upon to build his offer from scratch using the info that you have. And as you can see with this specific GPT system, we go into a lot more details than kind of what we talked about in this video, like the deep-rooted problems, the awareness level. But these are all things that you don't have to think about if you have an AI system like this. So we're actually going to rebuild his offer from scratch. And I'm definitely not going to spend all the time doing this. I'm going to make this as fast as possible. Usually what we would have our partners do is go through each step by step. Like I said, each step that is in the offer creation full walkthrough resource. But what I'm going to have the AI system do here is just completely one-shot everything from the problem to solve, the avatar to solve, the desired specific result, the path, the unique method, everything. And we're going to have it design everything, the pricing, all of that in one shot, just to kind of give you an example of how the system could work. But obviously with real data and actually following the step-by-step system that's trained on this AI system, this GPT, you're going to get way better results, of course. And it's really only in 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't take long at all. And that specific offer that you get could generate you tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yep. So first of all, you can see we're starting phase 1 foundation. We're not starting with deliverables, bonuses, pricing, or catchy name. None of that matters. We need to select the most valuable transformation for one specific buyer. Well, okay. I think the AI is being too literal. I need it to make the offer based on the fact that we are a finance YouTuber. We're basically trying to create an offer for his finance audience. That's like pretty much the example. ChatGPT, I want you to give me the specific offer based on the fact that the avatar is a finance YouTuber. Like the creator is a finance YouTuber. We're trying to create an offer for his audience. And I want you to completely one-shot it from first step to last step. Say the major problem that is within his audience is whatever. People want to, I want you to create the problem, like literally come up with the problem from scratch, and based off the major problem, come up with everything, the avatar, the specific end result, the pricing, end to end. And I want you to one-shot it. Show me what you can do. Show me what you got. All right, let's go. So as you can see, it's starting to pretty much design everything from scratch. And because it's kind of pretty much making up details and stuff because it doesn't have the data that you initially need in order to make this work, which is what you get from actually talking directly to your audience, your avatar. You gather that data and then put it into the system. It's going to recreate it from scratch. So it's going to recreate the details from scratch. And then from there, it will use those details to actually finalize all the stuff that we've talked about before, like the offer, the end results, the path, the unique method, the pricing, and then it'll should give a plan to actually start to launch that. Now look at where we are finally creating the 90-day wealth operating system. The finance YouTuber should not sell another broad investing course. This is what we have talked about before. Selling broad and not having a specific problem yourself and a specific end result does not create buyers, does not create revenue. He should sell a high-touch financial implementation mentorship to a narrow, affluent segment of his audience. High-earning professionals, a specific person who have accumulated money but still feel disorganized. So accumulated money, they are now somebody who's actually valuable, someone who can actually afford to invest into themselves, but feel disorganized, uncertain, and behind because their cash accounts, investments, benefits, debt, goals, and financial decisions do not operate as one coherent system. Think about how painful it is for someone who makes a lot of money. Their money is just everywhere and anywhere. They need clarity and simplicity within the system. Now that's a painful problem to solve. Yep. So now we're talking about the offer. This is the executive offer snapshot. This is the offer name, but this is the unique mechanism, the unique method of how they actually go about getting to the end result. Basically, the end result is now build a personal financial infrastructure that tells you what every dollar should do, automates the plan, and gives you repeatable rules for making future financial decisions. The Wealth OS method is their unique way of going about it. This is the specific person that you're targeting. A US-based professional or dual income household earning approximately $120,000 to $300,000 per year. Now, these people have money. These are people who are affluent, who can afford the services. The major problem that they're solving is they earn too much money to still feel financially disorganized. And now the specific promise to actually solve that major problem is how to build and activate your company or your complete wealth operating system in 90 days with benefit. AKA benefit is so every dollar has a job, your long-term plan runs automatically, you stop second guessing every financial decision without obstacle. Stock picking, watching the market every day, or piecing together generic advice, specific end result. You can kind of see how this now starts to build. I'm not going to go through this entire document. I'll just kind of through it and then you can kind of see how it starts to go. But you can see in one go, it completely identified all these major components that we talked about when we first went through the serious buyer, the paid result, the path and method, the delivery and obstacles, the pricing, and validating the offer. So I'm just going to go through this very, very quickly. Specific end result, the delivery model, the actual, what they're actually getting, the limited cohort, the weekly implementation calls, the pricing, the capacity. This is the avatar, more specifically who the avatar is. And you can kind of see how specific we get. This is their current situation. So we didn't talk about a lot of these different things, but this AI system actually pretty much dials in everything that you need to make money. If you get this dialed in, you can present this to that specific avatar that was identified within your audience. And I'm telling you, making money is cheese. Making money is easy. Making money is simple. I'm not putting income claims because YouTube and social media, they like to ban people when they do that. So no income claims, but I mean, listen, bro, you can see kind of how simple this is. And now we're talking about the central problem and problems. And you can see it's still loading. It's still going. It's still giving pretty much everything that you need in order to create an offer that actually sells. And you can see the unique selling proposition, aka the unique selling mechanism, or aka your unique way of going about your path. It's first figuring out what is the old way. What were the old way and problems that were preventing you from getting to the results? And why these things did not work. The new way is aka your wealth operating system, your unique way of going about things that is completely separate of the old way. It has nothing that the old way has and everything that that actually works. And that's what the new way is presented at. And it actually gives you the formula for the USP of how to actually create it, the unique mechanism. Now it goes into more depth of the Wealth OS and it'll tell you the benefit. So I'm not going to go through this entire thing. You can kind of read this if you want. If you actually want me to maybe perhaps send this actual document to you, I can send it to you and then you can kind of see what you need to have in your offer that this specifically has. If you want, literally put it into GPT and figure out, okay, based on my audience, based on who I am, figure out how I can apply this exact same principle to my specific offer. And now you can see it's creating the entire thing. It's creating the entire thing. And honestly, I'm feeling nice. So if you actually want me to help you design your specific offer based on your specific data, just DM me the word offer. I'll ask you a couple of questions. You can send me your details and I can present to you something similar to how this has presented it to me. This specific AI system is only unique and available for our internal partners at D-Ways Acquisition. So if this is something that you actually want us to do for you and help you design, you can check out the link below. There's a link to book in a walkthrough where we can show you how we can do this for you, or you can DM me on Instagram. And this isn't the only thing that we do. This is just one piece of the puzzle of the entire thing of actually building a business that generates 6, 7, and 8 figures a year as a creator. That's going to be the other aspects as the launch, the backend systems. These are all things that are required in order to actually have the full pieces of the puzzle complete and unlocked for your creator and educational YouTube business. And like I said, it is still 100% going. So all in all, to wrap this up completely, if we want to build an offer that actually generates $20,000 to $60,000 in the next 16 days, you need to figure out a couple of things. One thing is it built? First of all, have we identified the serious buyer within our audience? Have we figured out who is this specific person? And have we designed something that's actually built for this specific person? Were you able to design a specific and clear and transformative result, something that solves the deepest pain points and problems that this serious buyer in your audience actually has? Does your unique way of solving this problem allow and enable them for the path that they take? Is the path for them getting to this solution and solving this major problem, is it clear? Is it A through Z? Do you solve every single problem that could arise when they go through this path and journey to getting from their current situation to their desired situation? And is your path in a way that's unique and hasn't been seen by others before, or hasn't been tried by them before? Does your unique way solve and prevent all the failures and potential problems that could arise when they try and go through your path? Does the delivery and price make sense? Like, is the delivery based around solving the miniature problems that will arise when they go through that path? And have you created stuff so that when these problems do arise, the solution's there, aka the delivery materials? That could be the coaching call, that could be the accountability, whatever the case may be. And does the price make sense? Are you pricing based on value? Is it priced high enough so that the getting the result for the specific person is worth it for you to solve, as well as worth it for them, as in like when they invest, they actually feel as if they have no choice but to get the result because they spent a lot of money on investing into the painful problem that they're trying to ultimately solve. And if you can go through all of these things and figure out if any of these things are correct, if you have followed through that 7-step process that we outlined for the first half of this video, then ultimately you've created an offer that will make money and will allow you to create predictability and consistency in your income because you didn't skip the things that actually required to make money with anything that you sell. And also, of course, the last step is actually just putting it out into the market and not building anything before you actually sell. Like, make money first and then use the data that you get from the people who have bought to build the best product of all time. And listen, you have to realize that the audience, trust, and attention that you have, it already exists. You don't have an audience problem. You don't have a views, likes, or subscribers problem. You don't have a content problem. It's just that the actual path behind all this stuff has not been built. And if you go through this 7-step process, it will be built. And so now you know how to create an offer that actually sells. It's literally only 7 steps. But the offer is, it's obviously only one part of the business. You still need to know the launch systems, the backend systems, the operating systems that actually allow you to make money from your company and from your brand without putting so much time, energy, and effort into it. The amount of money you make should not be tied completely to your time, energy, and effort. So I want you to check out this video here called the 4 engines. The 4 engines that actually create a real creative business so that you can actually learn the other 3 aspects that actually contribute to that end result. This is how you're going to scale without depending on a ton more views or engagement, consistent brand deals or consistent sales from your digital products or stuff that you're currently selling, and a massive team. I'll see you in that video.